Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gabriel, just on Fan TV, man. Back after another video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my videos. Let's get to today's topic, man. All right, how y'all doing, man? Yesterday was a little busy for me, so I wanted to drop this video yesterday, but just didn't have the time to do it. All right, so look, there's a very, very lazy narrative following the Ravens offense that's being put out there by the general media at large, NFL media, all right? And the narrative is that every time the Ravens offense struggles, that there's nothing different about this Ravens offense, that they're the same offense they were from last year, that what has changed, right? So I've heard this from Ryan Clark, Stephen A., and Shannon Sharp, and even some Ravens fans are saying this. What has really changed about this Ravens offense, okay? First of all, let's just watch the games. Let's see what's going on there differently. You're not seeing as much pistol. You're not seeing as much tight ends on the field at the same time. Not as many heavy sets. Not as many three tight end looks. Whatever you want to say as far as heavy personnel, they're not doing it as much, all right? You're seeing the defense more spread out. You're seeing more three wide receiver sets. The Ravens versus the week one versus the Bengals had three wide receivers on the field more than they had any game last year, pretty much several games combined. I was listening to the Athletic Football podcast. They talked about it. In one game, the Ravens had three wide receivers on the field so much that it was almost half of the total that they had in the previous season, right? And that was just in one game, okay? So that's a change for you. Every time something doesn't go, every time something doesn't work, doesn't go as planned, it doesn't mean the Ravens offense hasn't changed or they're doing the same kind of things, all right? It's lazy, and it's kind of a narrative that I'm seeing being pushed out by multiple media outlets and multiple media personalities. And it's just kind of annoying to hear it, even from some Ravens fans that's saying it, right? So the Ravens did not play well offensively versus the Colts the last three quarters. The first quarter they were fine. The last three they did not play well, right? Some of these same issues that they had in the past, they come back to haunt them. You know what I mean? We're going to be honest about that. You know, lack of picking up the pressure, lack of seemingly be timing with the wide receivers and things like that. But they're not running the same offense. They're not doing the same kind of things. If you could watch all 22 film and see the spacing out there from one receiver to the next, how many times did we see in Great Roman's offense that wide receivers, tight ends, whoever are on top of each other? That's not happening. We're seeing a quick pass game, short pass game. Then I heard Shannon Sharp say something like, or it was Stephen A., one of the two. I'm still waiting for Lamar Jackson to throw the ball down the field. What game are you watching? Because he's been doing that. He had the big strike to Zay Flowers. I mean, just in the last game for Aguilar, put the Ravens in game winning field goal position. Really, that was a 20-yard strike to Aguilar. You know what I mean? So these kind of takes, these kind of nonsense things and stuff that, I mean, I get it from the media. You know, they gotta have their opinions. They gotta have their thing that's going to get clicks on the not clicks, but get people to watch the show and get takes all over the internet, right? But at the same time, when you sit down and you really watch what Todd Monkey and his Ravens offense is doing, it's different, right? What the Ravens are going through struggle-wise are just simply that. It's struggles from learning a new offense, right? Every time that they don't produce how we want them to produce, we can't say the offense hasn't changed, right? Last week, no, not last week, well, 2 weeks ago now, when they played the Bengals and looked great from the majority of the game, was the offense different then? No, it was the same offense they ran versus the Colts and versus the Texans, right? It's just that they played better. They were more in rhythm. They were a better football team during that game, right? They played better. So when I hear this, when I hear these things, and it makes it seem like Lamar Jackson is struggling or something like that, and he's not. Lamar Jackson is throwing the ball some of the best he's thrown it so far in his career. All right. If I look up Lamar Jackson's numbers right now, as far as completion percentages and things like that, he's throwing the ball well. Like, it's nothing to say that, they need to play better. They shouldn't lose to the Colts team. They shouldn't have these kind of letdowns in games that they're expected to win. All of that is fair, and that's honest criticism. That's things that hell I've said. You know what I mean? Because that makes sense, and that's the truth. But just to throw out that, hey, look, man, they ain't doing nothing different. It ain't working, this and that. It's been 3 weeks. Let's calm down on that, right? So Ryan Clark said, right, Rogers Lee, what he said, we aren't seeing anything different, and I actually think whatever the simple changes are that they're making to the passing game is holding this offense back. At least with Greg Roman, though it was elementary, We hated the passing game. They were consistent. That's a lie. I don't know who this Ravens team is, and they don't have an offensive identity yet. They didn't have an offensive identity last year. They were trying to be in the mix between a couple of offenses last year. So, and I expect more from Ryan Clark because usually he gets sensible takes on these kind of things. And that take is crazy. We hated the pass game last year because it was elementary, but at least we knew what they were doing. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, right? So anyway, Lamar Jackson this year so far through 3 games, 608 yards. He's completing 73% of his passes, right? And in this Colts game, most of the incompletions were they were either dropped or he threw the ball out of bounds. So this Ravens offense is on track for what they need to be, right? They're going to struggle. They're not going to come out of the gate game busters. Now, could they play better? Of course, I've said this multiple times. Of course they can play better. But we have to move off of the lazy narrative that they haven't done anything different. This offense looks exactly the same as it was last year. It doesn't, right? Now, have they kept components of last year's offense? Of course. This is another thing. You guys, media, Ravens, whoever, didn't listen to Todd Monken's introductory press conference, right? He said that when he looked at the Ravens film, there was nothing wrong with the Ravens running game. So why would I come in and install a completely new running game when I don't have to? So when you still see Lamar Jackson carrying the ball, when you still see certain running plays and formations that look familiar, it's because he decided to keep some of Greg Roman's running concepts, which we know were very good. He is here to upgrade the passing game, and through a couple of games, the passing game does look different. They're giving him multiple different looks from the Ravens on offense, under center, shotgun. You're still throwing some pistol in the mix, not as much, but you're still seeing a lot of different looks out there. Hell, I mean, I talked about it in the coach video. They had a play where they lined up Gus out wide. And, that was never happening before. And not to say that Gus Edwards is some threat out there, but it was an easy tell when a guy like Gus Edwards is on the field that the Ravens are probably going to run the football because he hasn't really caught many passes in his career. Now, at least you're getting a switch up with that, right? So, listen, it's early on in the season. The offense is probably still going to go through a couple of struggles. They're playing a very, very good Browns team coming up next. As far as defensively, the Browns are on point. The Browns are one of the best defenses in the league, right up there with, when the Cowboys just lost to the Cardinals, but the Cowboys have a very, very good defense. So Cowboys, 49ers, Browns, they're all like really, really good defenses. And the Ravens have to play the Browns coming up. So that's going to be a test for them. And if the Ravens offense doesn't play well, it doesn't mean that they're the same exact offense as last year. That's not what that means. Every time something doesn't go our way, right? Offense was a part of why the Ravens lost that game, but it wasn't the only thing, right? A lot of different things, coaching wise and decision making, went into the Ravens losing that game. All right, so I just want to talk about that because it was something that was bothering me. That every time we have to see the Ravens not play up to the offensive standard, that they should have just kept their old offense. Why are they trying to change? They're trying to get a new identity for what? Because this is the same old identity that everybody in the sports media was saying. The Ravens weren't going to win a championship playing like this. They weren't going to do this, weren't going to do that. Now they should revert back to the old ways. That doesn't make any sense, right? And listen, I don't really watch shows like First Take and all that stuff in the morning. I mean, usually because I'm at work, but also because they don't really watch the game. Stephen A. is not really watching all the football games to really give his expert opinion on what's going on. He has to cover 10 different sports. He ain't watching all the games. There's no way he's watching all the games. It's not humanly possible, especially when he's either on air or on a podcast doing something. So it ain't possible to watch all the games. So for me, it's uninformed. It's misleading, and I guess it's something that you get clicks, you get people like me talking about it. But at the end of the day, this Ravens offense is not the same as last year. What the struggles that they're going through is struggles of learning a new offense. It's struggles of having everybody trying to get on the same page in a single off season. Sometimes it takes a little time. All right, and that's all I wanted to say about it, man. If you agree with me, like the video. If you don't, give me a comment, tell me your thoughts. Hell, even if you do agree, give me a comment, tell me your thoughts on it. But I'm gonna get out of here, man. It's Gabriel from Fan TV. I'm out.